Welcome back to Underground Mondays! I'm your host, Jay Morris, the review guy, and thank you for joining me again. It's been quite a bit since I did episode 2 of this, but I really wanted to make another, and I like to kind of space it out because I like to find some really good releases. I put them all in the description, all that good stuff. It's a way for me to recommend artists that, you might not usually hear, using my personal platform to try to expose you guys to music that you might have not heard otherwise. Be sure to let me know in the comment section below if you're enjoying this series, if you're getting any good recommendations out of it, all that good stuff. I really love making this series, and I hope that you guys enjoy it as well. The only thing I will ask is that you leave a like on this video, share it to your metalhead friends, share it to your communities, because you guys keep this series going, because obviously not everyone that watches my channel is as into metal as, we are. All of these are going to be linked in the description box below, so you can go check out the albums for yourself, see if you enjoy them. Be sure to tell them Jay Morris the Review Guy sent you, and if you enjoy the record, be sure to let me know. The first thing is a single. It's not an album, but it is a fairly long single by the band Karst. It's called The Sword and the Martyr. They're a San Pedro, LA, California band. If you like your death metal to be extremely chunky, this is a good place to start. You're also gonna like this record if you like death metal with crust and doom metal influences. It's supremely grotesque, but still very eerie. Little bit meat and potatoes, but still surprisingly it has some dynamics such as the frigid guitar opening. And it has a lot of guts through its runtime. I highly suggest it. Next up I have Atlantean Kodex with The Course of Empire. A very long, extremely satisfying record in the genres of speed metal, thrash metal, power metal especially. This has new wave of traditional heavy metal written all over it. They're not rewriting the playbook of the genre, it has all these staples, but it's performed very well. I especially dig the high-pitched, roaring power metal vocals and some of those victorious riffs. This is a very long record by its standards, so step into it expecting, an epic. But if that's your thing, you'll like it. If you don't, you might find it a little long-winded, but I still suggest checking it out. Next up, I have Alcoholocaust with Necro, Apocalipse, Bestial. A very exciting release from this Portuguese band. It has a very tight and compact 33-minute runtime and finds its home in a hybrid of thrash metal and black metal, and a really good hybrid at that. The black metal pretty much comes out of the vocals solely. The rest is rolling, headbanging, thrash metal riffs with hardcore drumming, and it all has some great texture. Might have wished the vocals would have been a little bit higher in the mix, because they do get drowned out sometimes, but otherwise it's a really good mixture. Next up we got Block War with their self-titled album. Making our way back to thrash, this is a thrash metal record with a lot of hardcore punk influences, and I'm surprised this isn't getting more attention. This is probably my favorite of the list, this time around at least. This has some amazingly dense and heavy production that baffles me for how well textured it is. The drums have this resonance on this record that I cannot get over. I love easily some of my favorite drums on any record recently. It just makes they make my head ring with every roll, with every note. The guitars also have this melodicism that is very demented. I like the reverb on the drums as well, and the vocals have this defined hardcore punk influence to them, very shouty and throaty. Next up I have the split by Coke Nail and Eye Gag. This is by far the most abrasive, the most in-your-face, the most brutal, the most off-putting and horrific record to make the list. Not for the faint of heart, but if you can brave it, I do think it's very much worth your time. Eye Gag is a jazz-inspired noise and grind duet, whereas Coke Nail is a 3-piece noisecore and noise grind act. And the noisecore is very well indicated here. Warped labyrinth-like machinery, whirs and gigs and mechanical sounds, but when Eye Gag's influence comes in, it's very evident as well. Everything becomes very frenzied and hectic, and the sheen over it is that noise. I think the noise of Coke Nail and the abrasive technicality and quickened playing of Eye Gag's grindcore influences just complement each other really well. Next up I have Jerome with their self-titled EP. For anyone that says deathcore has gotten too soft, please check this record out. This is a band from Chicago, Illinois, that brings back the absolutely pounding ferocity, roughened vocals, and classic, deep, raw production that you got from early deathcore in the late 90s and the early 2000s. Before the deathcore scene got a little bit mainstream in the mid-2000s and became something else entirely. The album is great. The riffs hit the occasional melody, but for the most part, it's just chunk city. chunky on all corners, tortured, low-tuned riffs, and breakdowns that crawl forward with such tenacity, it's great. Next up we have Bound in Fear with The Hand of Violence. Anyone that's a fan of what Unique Leader Records does, which this record has been released on, I feel like you should check this out. This style, without a doubt, won't be for everyone. But if you enjoy the epic and robotic introduction, the slamming brutal deathcore style, with beatdown-centric compositions and extreme death metal guttural growls, as well as breakdowns that trudge along, I think you'll get a lot out of this record. There's something to be said about how these breakdowns sluggishly meander forward. This isn't doing anything that's going to fit too out of place for the genre or even for the Unique Leader Records boot camp, but if you enjoy that style, I think you'll love this record. Reminds me a little bit of that Brand of Sacrifice record I liked a lot earlier this year, God Hand. Like I said, these are all going to be in the description box below. Be sure to leave a like on this video and share it to your friends. Stay for the end screen. I will link some videos you might be interested in. You can also find the other episodes of this series down below. They still hold up, you know, all that good stuff. Be sure to subscribe if you happen to be new to the channel and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. My name is Jay Morris, the Review Guy. You know who it is, and I'm signing off saying farewell.